All right, good morning, YouTube people. I'm guessing mostly middle-aged white men, age 60 and above. I thought we'd give you a more formal introduction to Project Trash Panda. This is a 1970, I'm trying to remember now, 74, I believe, Allis Chalmers 7040, serial number 3166. It was Dead Horse, picked up out of Bill Deppy AC down in Maquoketa, Iowa. It's Powershift. The engine was junk when I got it, stuck, starter missing, things full of water, and it sat for an unknown period of time. We'll just kind of start going nose to tail where we're at with the resto mod of this thing and get you guys up to speed. First things first, front axle, left-hand knee, sloppy in top, tight in the bottom. We went ahead, took it apart, rebushed it, cleaned it up, it's good to go. Right hand knee, it's tight. We're pushing oil through it with the porta power. So far, we've only really been successful with the bottom. We've had the thing flipped upside down, heated. It's turning fine, but we'll probably still take it apart in the long run and rebush that one and have it correct. Front hubs have not touched yet. They will be getting new bearings, races, and seals. They are pretty dry. As far as the front axle itself, pivot bolt, so the main pivot pin, which you can see right there, was froze to the axle. So if you move the axle, wobbled it, it went with it. What we did, which worked out pretty good, Dad did most of the work. He shoved an Allen key, which isn't there anymore, between the square washer and the frame of the axle, left in there, and then just lots of heat, lots of work. Replaced the grease zerk with fittings so we could pump oil through it as well, and just kept working it back and forth. Now it pivots like it ought to. Allen keys out. Steering assembly, not a surprise, the left-hand side, which has the adjustment for your toe, was stuck on the old maroon one. So we picked up one off a Black Belly. It was freed, it was fine. We got it adjusted, because that's one thing I forgot. The axles were set out wider on this tractor originally. I'm not sure what somebody was doing, if it was some weird offset for plowing, but one side was one bolt out, the other bolt hole out, the other side was two. So now we're narrowed back up. We're going to end up with a row crop tractor when we're done. Steering cylinder, took that apart, resealed it. The ball joints on each end were frozen, replaced them. We also got new bolts for them, and they're apparently made out of platinum. They're $200 bolt, or not $200, $220 per pair bolt with the nuts and stuff. So if I would have known that, I wouldn't, well, I wish I would have known Dad was ordering them, but here we are, we got them, so they're in. As far as soft lines, everything from the bell housing forward I'm replacing. Because that's one thing people start talking, restoration. Well, did they just slap paint and decals on it? Did they fully blow it apart? This one's going to be a resto mod where we're trying to stay relatively consistent with how it was originally, but we're also going through and going further than a lot of guys do. So every soft line, as we come across it, we are having new hydraulic lines made for it as we go. We'll go up to the cooling package. Original 7040 Powershift cooling package was there. Had the field fix additional cooler, which some of that stuff's laying over there in a pile. So the original Powershift transmission cooler was integrated into the radiator like you'd see on a car for a transmission. They must not have tested them in very hot temperatures, and they started overheating and ruining transmissions. So they threw an additional cooler, external cooler on, and just T-lined them together, and it worked. It was ugly, but it worked. When I pulled my cooling package off, the radiator, I took it out to be tested because it had no water in it when I got the tractor home, and it was junk. So at that point, we went and found over near Des Moines, there's a boneyard over there. Got a 7060 Powershift cooling package, so the bigger radiator. So if we want to turn up the power, we're fine. We won't, but we're fine. Then it's got the Black Series cooling package for the transmission and hydraulic cooler. Much simpler. Right now, how it's ran, for the most part, the bottom lines, they're fine. We'll tie them up, get them cleaned up, but we're just trying to get it out of the shed and out of the way of the planter. Top line, this is one difference you'll run into on the maroon bellies. The top line's routed on the left-hand side, whereas on the black bellies, that hard line here is actually on the right-hand side. This is a temporary fix just to get us going. I will either bend and make a new new line for that, or if we're over there at the junkyard, we'll see if we can find one. But for right now, it's sealed up. It's ready to run. Engine. So this is not the original engine. This is out of a L2 combine. Engine itself has roughly 3,800 hours. It's a good starter. So stripped off most of the stuff that makes it combine specific. We left on the coolant filter assembly. So that's something that was an option on tractors, which you didn't see very often, but it was a standard feature on the combines. I am running the modern purple or pink, well, purple antifreeze through it. So I do not need the additive filter. So what I have is just a regular filter to get all the 50 years of garbage out of the system, keep it clean. It's pretty cheap insurance, especially since I already had it. Moving over, and the fan that's the original 7040 fan. The cast lower, that is different on combine, so this is switch over to 7040. We've got new hoses, top and bottom, new twin thermostats. What else? Water pump, replace that. We can get over to the intake side. So the 7040 originally had a cheap turbo on it. The combine motor had an air research. So the tube is different. How it routes is different between the combine and the tractor, and also the size of the tube. On the other cheaper turbo, it was 2 1/4 inch pipe. This one's 2-inch pipe. I kind of checked a bunch of our other Allises, and they're all running the 2-inch with the air research. So I picked that up from Deppy as well. Starter, it's the original Allis Chalmers combine starter. As far as the flywheel on this, it is the heavy flywheel Powershift era, so it's probably a 100-pound flywheel. Can't see it. It was machined. Put a new torque limiter in it. What else? Staked the nut on the transmission input, new seals. Everything sealed up. Should be tight, ready to rock back there. That's kind of all the further we've gone on this side for the bell housing. Right hand side of the engine. So had the old Niehaus, Hasselhoff, Hosenbu, whatever, alternator on there. No surprise, it was junk. Ordered a new Delco 10SI from Gen Sales, and this is what we get. One that is not going to work as configured for the Allis Chalmers, even though it's specified for this model. So I've got some different pulleys we're going to try. They do sell one, but for right now, we'll see what we got. Hopefully get it good enough, just keep tension at least on the belt so we can start moving coolant when we fire this thing up later today. Turbo side, like I said, tractor exhaust manifold's different than combine. So this is the 7040 manifold. The turbo's from the combine. Exhaust elbow is new. I had that ceramic coated, and surprise, surprise, not really. They are not clocked with a crap, leading to a leaning exhaust stack or muffler. So still planning on taking that loose today before we fire it up. Marking, taking the die grinder and getting that thing clocked so the pipe goes straight up like it ought to. Air filter, yeah, this is stupid, but it gets us by. We're kind of running out of time. We need to get the planter out, so I threw this on there just good enough to get us started and drive around the yard. I didn't want to throw the full correct filter housing and tubes and stuff on it just to take it back off. I'm still planning on taking the radiator brackets off and painting them and cleaning things up, so trying to do just enough to get it drivable and not make a lot of work because I don't have a whole lot of time playing, but we're getting there. Injection pump is the original combine injection pump, so we will not be using the mechanical fuel shutoff. We've got the electric. I'll get that wired up to a kill switch for the day, and eventually we'll tie that into the key for the normal dash key. Turbo side, I said had to clock the charge pipe side. That was easy. Things are free and clear and moved. Oil lines. So these are clocked and routed as the Allis Chalmers were at that time. As you can see, the drainage side of the suction is all downhill. So unless I'm on a hell of a side hill, which do not exist where we live, there is going to be no issues there. We use stainless compression fittings for both pressure and return side. So we're set up ready to run there. Return side's routed more like it would have been on the black bellies or on that side, whereas on the maroon belly, came down this side. What else we got here? Stripped off all the other combine sensors and stuff. I'm gonna pipe in just some cheap mechanical gauges for now for the first startup till we get her going. Then we'll eventually get everything else hooked up right. This thing did have on the cluster, I don't know why, some sort of warning light sensor, but we're not using that cluster anyway. But in the long run, I may end up sticking some good gauges, maybe some auto meters up top in a nice clean way, just so we actually have a good oil pressure reading, coolant temperature reading, and volt reading, but we're not there yet. What else? One battery in it now. We'll go to 2 batteries before we're done. Teal tanks, the Dr. Allis patent pending fuel pig. It'll work for startup. The fuel tanks are off. They're going to stay off until we get everything else cleaned up, painted, done right. They've sat forever empty, so I'll probably be running some muriatic acid through them to clean them up right before we put diesel in them. As we get into the redneck, stupid open station retarded conversion, this is all temporary. We will be going to an open station conversion with this tractor when we're done. For right now, I've got a set of good 200 fenders. Then we're going to be buying the conversion kit to do it right. Eventually, I'm keeping an eye out for a set of the correct fenders. The only real difference is single headlight versus dual headlight. The 7010s and up just had a single headlight in the middle. So if I find a decent set of fenders or find one that are junk but that bucket's okay, I'll probably end up doing a 3D scan of the bucket and making myself a couple extra pairs of them, pressing them out. But as you can see, people wondering why, besides the cool factor, this cab is junk. It's rotted out. It's not worth saving. Getting into the rest of it, so it's still got the deep dish, maroon belly, steering wheel. We'll probably eventually switch that to the shallow one like the Black Bellies had. Dash clusters, cracked, junk. I was going to glue it and try to 3D scan it, but surprisingly, they are still available through AGCO for a couple $100. This one, while it's off, I probably am going to still have it 3D scanned, and then we may end up having one machined out of aluminum before we're done, but that's in the works yet. Front tires, being the trash Panda that this thing is, 1100 on one side, 1000 on the other. We get her going, we'll switch to 1100s in the end. I picked up a pair of 1400s off the combine I got the engine out of. We thought about using them, but that was when I wasn't sure what we're doing tire-wise. I'd contemplated going to 18.442s, but we're going to stick with 18.438s, get it narrowed up, make a row crop tractor out of it. I'm trying to think of what else. Drawbar missing, no surprise. I've got one I picked up yesterday off Dwayne Beck over in Preston, Iowa, who's got a lot of these tractors there for parts. It's a 70-80 drawbar, so it will be long, but we'll probably end up machining a hole for that to get it to the correct length. And being a 70-80, it is a case-hardened drawbar where, 70-60 and below, they were just mild steel. But all in all, you got a junk wheel that holds air on one side, a okay rear wheel on the other side. That looks like it's going to be fine. I guess, surprise, surprise, when we pull the tire off, we'll see what happens. See how bad it is or not. But that's the plan. Clean up the rear wheels. I got another spare one I bought off Deppy. We'll get them powder coated. I'll probably paint all the hardware for them, and then we'll get it turned in. We've got a pair of brand new Firestones put on the rear, 18.438s. Like I said, the fronts will eventually be 1100 series brand new Firestones. But we're at the point where today our hope is to finish hooking up the range cable. I guess that's one thing I forgot to mention. The only cable that is movable on this tractor is the Powershift gear cable. Everything else, range, park, 3-point, remotes, traction booster, they're all junk. So this thing's definitely sat a hell of a long time, and I'm pretty sure it sat outside its whole life. So as we continue working our way rearward, we'll be replacing all cables. Like I said, all soft lines are getting replaced, so there should be no leaks on this. But it's yeah, we'll see how we end up. It's It's been fun like it always is. You know, it's always more money, but we'll get there. This tracker, you can see it laying there, did have the upgraded step on it, painted maroon, but some knucklehead must have decided to run into something, which I'm trying to figure out how they did it without destroying the tires, but maybe that's why the tires are mismatched. So in my journeys, we did pick up another black belly step. I'm going to get hung from it today. Fet hoods, I've kind of started mismatching hoods. I've got a good 70-45 for the right-hand side. Left-hand side, we're going to see, I think I've got a decent one for that. Top center hood, it was good. It had the usual kind of, not pucker, but it was pressed down the middle, probably from having snow sit on it. It popped back up easily, took its shape back, so before paint, we will reinforce that. Make sure it doesn't do it again. Then, you know, we'll just keep painting. 70-45 hoods, obviously, it's going to be the wrong color. That's corporate orange. This tractor's going to end up Persian 2, like it would have been. As far as the maroon belly paint, what I've been doing so far is buying rattle cans from Van Sickle. They will mix it up. You can order it online, and it looks good, but it just takes a while. I've ordered them 3 times from them at different times, and it's taken anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks to get those cans in. So don't do that if you're in a hurry. With your better bets, probably just go to O'Reilly's and have the paint code mixed up. They can do aerosols as well. But probably the best part of the tractor when we brought her home so far is the seat. It's actually in good shape, but we will have that taken apart and have it recovered in vinyl when we're done. But for right now, that doesn't matter. We're kind of getting to the point now where the goal is to have this thing finished today, fired up today and out of the shed. And then we can start dinking around and see what else is wrong with it, because I'm sure there's always going to be more. But yeah, that is Trash Panda as a whole. If anybody knows anybody that happens to do like some Rat Fink style caricature drawings, let me know. I've got some ideas. I'd like to make a decal for this thing. Same thing as far as introductory videos. I'm probably going to try to start doing some more of these long format videos. I've got the drone home now. I'm working on coming up with a way to add sound to the drone videos. We got some exciting stuff planned there, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's Trash Panda. She's ugly. She'll get better. You guys have a good one. Thanks.